Steve Bowers welcoming you to Dialogue here at E+ TV6, a very special Nashville and Parts Unknown edition with Willie X Evans and a very, very special guest, Charlie McCoy. Willie, good to see you, friend.
Hey, Steve. Hey, Max. Hey, August. Hey, Millie.
Charlie, we're just glad he doesn't have any more grandchildren than that. You know what I mean?
Well, I got 5 of my own, so I know what you're talking about.
You understand? We got to say, you know, Willie, it's really strange. I saw more of you when you were living in Nashville.
I hear you.
Back here in the same town, and there he goes. Well, how did you first link up with Charlie McCoy? Because he's talked to us before on radio and other things. He's always a great kid.
Jim, a buddy of mine, Jim Sharp, who, Lord knows everybody in Nashville, I guess. He worked with Cashbox and had American Songwriter and worked with a number of companies. He introduced me to Charlie.
Okay.
And Charlie was gracious enough to come on the radio, and now we got him on here.
I got him on cable television here. Charlie, it's good to have you with us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Charlie McCoy is the harmonica player of harmonicas. And say the National Harmonica Convention is going to be virtual again this year.
Yeah, the National Convention, 2 years ago, they had their 50th anniversary, and I went to it, and there were 500. Can you imagine in a hotel? They're in the lobby, they're in the bar, they're in the restaurant, they're in the hall, they're in the parking lot. You play, they're all playing harmonica.
Yeah.
It's by an airport hotel. Can you imagine what the business travelers that happened to be there must have thought?
That day is like, what did only thing worse being a Yazoo convention or something, you know. 500 harmonica players, you know, you didn't know that many existed out there.
Woo, yeah.
So you're going to be taping some segments, and you've got some other notable guys that are going to be working with you today, I think.
Yeah, 4 very, very fine players, and this encourages me because, you know, being the senior citizen of the group, I'm happy to see that the future of this instrument is in great hands, and it's in great shape. We have 4 great guys. Jelly Roll Johnson, you heard him on the Judd's records, heard him on Randy Travis. Buddy Green's an amazing player. P.T. Gazelle and Pat Bergeson. And we were supposed to have Tim Gonzalez with us, but he's a little under the weather today. But it's going to be a lot of fun.
Okay, look for all of that. One of the things we were talking about before we got started, and that is D. Ford Bailey, because people think about a harmonica, a lot of times they associate it with blues and other things. D. Ford Bailey was one of the early members of the Grand Ole Opry and was on there for many years and actually toured some of those Opry shows with Uncle Dave Macon and all these people. And it's kind of an amazing thing. And I asked if you had met him, and you said you were part of his Hall of Fame induction.
Yeah, they asked me to play one of his songs when he was inducted. Of course, he had already passed away, you know, but his family was there, and I was proud to be there and proud to be a part of that.
Yeah, just kind of person. It was a totally different style. We talked about it. He would make these train sounds also and stay on stage for several minutes at a time in his singing.
Yeah. Well, it's like my wife says, when I play the Orange Blossom Special, it proves I'm full of hot air.
Okay. Well, Charlie McCoy with us on this very special edition, Nashville and Parts Unknown here at Dialogue at E+ TV6. Charlie, we've talked before, but for folks that haven't heard the story, how did you arrive in Nashville and how did the harmonica become your instrument?
Well, that was my first instrument. I was 8 years old, got one out of a comic book with 50 cents and a box top. That was 1949. You could buy something for 50 cents, 1949, or my mother could, you know. And I got a guitar shortly after that and got really into the guitar, got to doing rock and roll in the 50s. Met Mel Tillis one night. He heard me sing Chuck Berry, and he said, "Boy, you come to Nashville, I'll get you on records."
Oh, wow.
That was like showing a steak to a wolf. So the day after high school, I drove to Nashville to meet Mel Tillis. He was out of town.
Okay.
But the secretary introduced me to his manager, who was Jim Denny, by the way, who's a Hall of Fame man. He used to run the Opry. And he said, "Mel told me about you." "Really? You want some auditions?" And I said, "Yeah." So I went and auditioned for Owen Bradley and Chet Atkins. Had no idea who they even were.
Oh, is that right? Wow.
I mean, you're talking about, I didn't know anything. And they both said no. Best thing that ever happened to me. Because Owen invited me to watch a recording session. and I saw 13-year-old Brenda Lee record a song called Sweet Nothings. And when I heard the first playback, I said, I don't want to sing. I want to do this.
Oh, okay.
And I
Where
came
were you
back.
from? Where were you from? You were living where when you came to Nashville?
I came up from Florida.
Florida,
I
okay.
was born in Oak Hill, West Virginia,
Okay.
which is the town where Hank Williams was found in the
Okay.
car, passed away.
Okay, wow.
But anyway, when I was 9, we moved to Florida, and I came up here from, actually, I lived in Miami, Florida back then. Came up. So I went back, excited about what I'd seen and heard, and started in college, and didn't last a year. I came back. I
Okay.
dropped out. My father was really upset. He finally forgave me years later when I introduced him to Dolly.
Okay. All forgiven.
But I
Charlie,
was
did
living-
Owen Bradley and Chet Atkins say why they turned you down, or?
Oh, they said, well, they both said, well, son, we think you're pretty good, but, we're just not doing this kind of music here.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So did Owen Bradley ask you to sit on the session just kind of to be polite, or?
Yeah, he just wanted me to watch.
Okay.
And boy, did I watch, and did I get an eyeful and an earful, it was amazing. Like Hoot Hester put it this way, his first session he watched, he said, it looked like these guys weren't even paying attention. And they were joking and making fun with their instruments. And when the red light came on, real men started to play. And that's what I heard that day. It was incredible. And I said, boy, if I could be a part of this, this would be amazing.
Did the harmonica then become your instrument exclusively?
Well, I had gotten serious about it because I had heard some records about Jimmy Reed and Little Walter.
Okay.
So I was trying to play it.
Okay.
And when I came back, I lived with a award-winning songwriter, Kent Westbury. I guess his biggest song was Love on a Hot Afternoon by Gene Watson. And he also wrote one that the Beatles recorded. Anyway, he would have songwriters over every day, and they'd write. And so one day he said, hey, why don't you get your harmonica and play along with us just for the heck of it? Okay. So he wrote a song with a writer named Mary John Wilkin, and about a month, a call comes from Jim Denny and says, Chet just called. That song that you played on the demo, because he let me play on the demo of it, he wants you to come to a session and play exactly what you played on the demo. The session's with an unknown singer from Sweden named Anne Margaret. That was my first session, May 9th, 1961.
May 9th, 1961, and it's Anne Margaret.
Yeah. And the best thing that happened there was at the end of the session, the bass player, Bob Moore, walked over and he said, you free Friday? Hey, I was free the rest of my life, Come back here, we're recording Roy Orbison. Whoa, I was a huge fan.
Okay.
We did a record called Candyman.
Oh, wow.
When that record hit the radio, my phone started ringing. Last month I celebrated 60 years of studio work.
Wow. And the phone hadn't stopped ringing.
Still
Charlie McCoy's
going.
with us. Yeah, Charlie McCoy's with us. Phone still rings. It's magic. We'll be right back as we continue this dialogue at E+
All right.
TV6.
Thanks.
What this place needs is better graduation rates.
What this place needs is less childhood obesity.
What this place needs is free help with taxes.
What this place needs is healthy breakfast.
What this place needs is fitness programs for kids.
What this place needs is early readers.
What this place needs is mentors for teens.
What this place needs is people to join us. What this place needs is you. To donate or volunteer, go to unitedway.org.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool.
To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back to Dialogue at E Plus TV 6, a special edition with Willie X Evans of Nashville and Parts Unknown. Our special guest is Charlie McCoy. And Willie, this guy, you know, at first he meets Brenda Lee, gets in a session with Brenda Lee, and his first session was with Ann Margaret. You know,
I'm telling you.
I've been hanging around Nashville in and out a long time for years now, and I've met Brenda Lee. I've never met Ann Margaret. I've never been invited to anything. You know,
I'm still trying to meet Charlie for coffee sometime.
yeah.
Hey.
The closest we get is crashing a few events. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, timing is everything, you know. Yeah.
Charlie, how did Ann Margaret wind up in Nashville? What did they see in her? What were they trying to do with her?
Their whole idea, their ultimate goal was for her to be an actress.
Okay.
But they thought they would start her as a recording artist. And actually, the record she cut, it was a chart record.
Okay.
It was called "I Just Don't Understand."
Okay.
And that's the song that the Beatles also recorded.
Okay.
For my buddy Ken Westbury. And that was then later, 15 years later, she came back to town with Lee Hazelwood and did an album. But she was already well on her way with acting career by then.
Okay. All right. Wow. So what is that like first time in the studio when they call you in for a session like this?
Oh man, it was like, you know, in my autobiography, I said, I thought I died and went to heaven.
Yeah.
There was God, Chet Atkins. There was his disciples, the Nashville A-Team musicians.
Okay.
There was his heavenly choir, the Anita Kerr singers.
Oh, wow.
And there was an angel, 20-year-old Ann Margaret. I'm glad I knew what to play because
yeah.
I was distracted.
That would seem to be an intimidating situation to be in when you're walking with the A-Team for the first time.
It was.
Okay.
It was, but fortunately, nobody there had a clue of how to do what I was doing. So
Okay.
that helped a lot.
Okay. Well, then who decided to put the harmonica in that because you could do the song without the harmonica. When you hear it now, it would be totally empty if you did. So Roy Orbison is coming in. They said, well, we need a harmonica on this.
Yeah, I don't know whose idea that was.
Wow. Because it's the signature part of that song.
It could have been Bob Moore,
Okay.
you know, the bass player who was going to be the leader on Roy's session too. And when he heard what I was doing, he thought, boy, that would really fit what Roy's going to do.
Yeah, wow.
Could have been him.
And like I said, 60 years ago, and the phone has never stopped ringing.
Yeah, I'm still going, you know. I still love it.
What was next then, Charlie? Once you got all right, so Roy Orbison hits a great record, becomes a hit. That harmonica is just a definitive part of that thing.
Yeah, and then I started working a lot, playing with, you know, most of the big country artists. And then 1965, Bob Dylan came to town. That opened up a whole new direction, you know. I ended up working with him and Simon and Garfunkel, Gordon Lightfoot, Joan Baez, Buffy St. Marie, all of those folk rock artists.
Okay.
And then many foreigners started coming in too. Worked with artists from France, Denmark, you know, Spain. I mean, all over the world, Japan. And then, you know, it wasn't anything I really wanted to do at the time, but the owner of Monument Records, Fred Foster, asked me if I'd make some records for him. And I said, what do you want me to do? And he said, I don't care.
Okay.
Go and be creative.
Okay.
Well, for 8 years, we tried to be creative and we weren't. And then 1971, out of the blue, my instrumental recording of Today I Started Loving You Again. All of a sudden, bang, and then next thing you know, it's in the charts. That album got the Grammy.
Holy cow.
And 2 albums later, we had an album go #1. And it you know, so now I'm an artist. And after that Grammy album, you know, finally somebody said, what are you going to do next? And I'm thinking, wait a minute. Yeah, I got to do another one, right? Yeah, you got to do another one. So now after 44.
Is that right?
Yeah, there are 44 of them.
Wow.
And I'm still going.
So do you build themes around these different albums and stuff? Is that how you come up with new ideas, or?
Well, I've worked with so many different styles of music. I really get, I love to experiment, and I don't really make records for harmonica players or musicians. I make records for country music fans.
Okay.
And, people out there that love music, and, musicians will never buy one. They just bum them off of you, right?
Yeah. Me. That just like a book writer says, the worst words I can hear is, "Man, I really love your book. I'm going to loan it to some of my friends."
Yeah, right.
Anyway, no, you need to sell it to them. Sell it to them.
Yeah.
The musicians don't buy them. Create them, but don't buy them.
Yeah.
Wow. What makes Charlie McCoy then? What is different?
I don't know. I've always been conscious of, although I basically got started as an artist, as an instrumentalist. I love songs and I love lyrics. And from right out of the chute, I always made it a point that if I didn't know the lyrics to a song I was going to record, I had a lyric sheet in front of me. Because I believe when people listen to instrumental music, especially songs they know, that subconsciously they sing along with it.
Singing with it. Okay.
And so therefore, phrasing is real important to me. And my records are, you hear me play the melody. And a lot of young harmonica players say, "Why do you just play the melody?" I say, "Because that's what people want to hear."
Yeah.
It's a song they know. They want to hear that melody.
That's it. Yeah, because your tendency as a harmonica player would be, I can do more than this.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love the bluegrass. I can play pretty fast. Orange Blossom is, it's exciting and all that, but I love to play the ballads.
Okay.
That's what I love.
So you become your own interpreter of what those songs are then?
Yes. I've been my own producer the whole way.
Wow.
I did 14 albums for Monument for Fred Foster. He never came to the studio when I recorded. He handed it over to me, and plus I know all the musicians. I know what they can do, what they're great at, and
Okay.
So,
well, that's a compliment.
Yeah, and I know how it works. I know what to do, and I know how the Nashville music scene works here. And it's really fun to go in and record new music.
I find it interesting, because many of the bands that backed up country artists would do instrumental albums. The Buckaroos did it with Buck Owens. I just remember this. But then, you had Ace Cannon coming out of Memphis. You had the saxophone player in Nashville.
Boots
Randolph. Yeah. Instrumentalists were a key part of Floyd Kramer albums. There was a time when instrumentals, as you said, competed with vocals for chart position.
It was a different day. Radio was more open to instrumentals.
Oh.
And, you had Boots and Chet.
Yeah, Chet did all those albums.
Records, Floyd, of course. Last Date's the biggest instrumental ever recorded here in Nashville.
Yeah.
And it was a different time, and so we kind of took advantage of it. And Boots Randolph told me something real early on, as we were working together on a session. He said, sometime the greatest solo you can play is the melody.
Charlie McCoy's with us. Now you know why. We're getting some insights here. We'll be back with more as we continue this dialogue at E+ TV6.
Today I'm going to talk to you about physics. Come on in, girls. Let's go. This is the first rocket to get humans to Mars.
Really tall.
I'm a rocket structural engineer, designing and building parts of the rocket. You are the generation that will be stepping foot on Mars. Do I have a group of astronauts on my hands?
Yes.
You can become a rocket scientist or whatever else you want to be.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. my human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Welcome back to Dialogue here at D Plus TV6. Steve Bowers with you, along with Willie X Evans, a special edition, Nashville and Parts Unknown. Charlie McCoy's with us, the harmonica man of all time here. And just, Willie, I'm learning some things right now. Sometimes the melody is the only lead you need.
This stuff just blows my mind. Does it not? It's just amazing to hear how people get there and just awesome. But we can't. The man has got to play harmonica.
Okay.
That's the.
Like that. Willie, if his agent sends a bill, I'm sending it to you.
Well,
Okay.
The good news is I don't have an agent.
Well, in that, Charlie, yeah, if you got something, like I said, you say you can play something fancy for it.
Yeah, okay. This is a song. This song I wrote and I did for an album a few years ago. The song is called Harmonica Jones.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Fantastic stuff. We had a gentleman on with us several years ago, Adam Gussow, who had gone from being a street musician in New York to being a professor at the University of Ole Miss, at University of Mississippi. And he was talking about Little Walter and Sonny Boy Williams. And he said, a harmonica is such a simple instrument, somebody can pick it up and make a sound with it. But he said, then the intricacy of it, he said he'd been playing it all of his life and was still learning. And
There's a whole lot more to it than you think,
Yeah, but your ability to hit all those notes, and as you say, you can step it down and just play a melody, or you can be all over the place. It's what makes it a fascinating instrument. I guess it's adaptable to just about any style of music.
It really can be. I mean, I've played on, Lord knows, all kinds of songs, from Simon and Garfunkel to and I even played harmonica on one Bob Dylan song.
Okay.
I'm the only harmonica player ever played on a Dylan record, other than him.
He did Nashville Skyline. Was that the session that you were on, or were there others that he did?
I did Highway 61, Blonde on Blonde, John Wesley Harding, Nashville Skyline, and Self Portrait.
Wow. All those done in Nashville?
The last four were.
Okay.
Highway 61 I played on one song in New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
It interests me that like I said, producers can have anything. They can do strings. They I mean, if they've got the budget, they can do anything. When they decide that the harmonica is right, for a song, and I don't know how that decision is made.
Well, I don't either. And I became known as a utility man because I play a lot of different instruments, and
All right.
A lot of producers would call and they'd say, "Look, just fill your trunk up with stuff, and we'll figure out what you can play when you get here." Okay.
Hey, well, that's why the phone never quit ringing, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's part of it. Yeah, I've been lucky that way.
Charlie, is there a best moment in this when you look on these 60 years?
There's so many. My time with Hee Haw was amazing. Of course, the Hall of Fame induction, the Musicians Hall of Fame, the West Virginia Music Hall of Fame. Well, that's my home state, But you know what? Just being able to do what I do, and I've done nothing but what I love my whole life. I've been awarded and rewarded, and it's like a dream. It's really like a dream.
Wow. And when we talk to people, I guess it's that way in every life, but it's just like you you get that invitation from Mel Tillis to go to Nashville with hopes of maybe being your own star, and then that doesn't work, and then that door, once it opens, it's just an interesting thing.
When you could talk to 50 people that have had success in our business. Every story is different.
Yeah.
Everybody's story is different.
Where does music and the harmonica go now, do you think? Do you sense?
I'm not really sure. I don't know. It's one of the instruments. I think it's like a banjo. It's like a fiddle. I think it has surges and then it goes away for a while. Then it comes back. Yeah. Unlike guitars and pianos are around all the time. Harmonica is one of those instruments that's, I don't know. Maybe you could say it's seasonal. I don't know.
Yeah. I was thinking, Willie Nelson is always, or as long as I remember his roadshow, has always had a harmonica player.
Yes, he has, and his name is Mickey Raphael.
Yeah.
He's a very good friend of mine, and actually, he and I did a duet on one of my albums.
Okay.
We did a duet of City of New Orleans that Willie did.
Yeah. And I think not everybody does, but it's in every Willie show, and in most of his songs, there's something that harmonica is doing. So it's a real.
Yeah, I got to play with Willie actually, I first did sessions with Willie in the '60s when he came to the studio in a suit and tie and short hair. But later on, I recorded with him. They did an album called "Last of a Breed" with him and Ray Price and Haggard.
Oh wow.
And then there was another one that he did a tribute to Ray Price that I played on. But, with Willie, I don't play harmonica. Well, I did on Last of a Breed, but the other ones, on the Ray Price tribute, I played vibraphone because he has Mickey, Mickey was there to play harmonica.
Yeah, it is just great stuff. Charlie, if people want to follow you or pursue these albums and everything else, is there a Charlie McCoy site that people can visit?
CharlieMcCoy.com.
All right, CharlieMcCoy.com.
They're all there. 44 CDs, 1 EP, 1 instructional DVD, and 1 autobiography.
All right. A perfect gift for everybody on your gift list. Buy all 44 of them, Charlie, a real pleasure to have this opportunity to talk with you. You've always been gracious with the time, and I appreciate it. These are just splendid stories, and it's just such a unique part of Nashville and country music and music history. If it's not in a position on you would like to close out, I'll just finish my part, and you say, always, sometimes the melody is the best lead, right?
Well, I mentioned that Hank Williams passed away in the town I was born in. So I've always had a real a deep feeling for Hank Williams music. So I'll play one verse of this one here.
All right. Thanks, Charlie. Charlie McCoy with us. Thanks, Charlie. Thanks, Willie. Thank you for being with us. Stay with us at E+ TV6. This is the place where the dialogue continues.
Or that the projections would be tornado next Thursday?
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency.